with another day of the 12 days of whiskey. Today is day 9, and we're getting close to the end here. I got a special one for you guys. I'm giving you my secrets. They're not really secrets, they are readily available online. Uh, but I like blending bourbons. I like blending my own concoctions like a mad scientist, a bourbon alchemist, if you will. But these are 3 whiskeys that I really, really enjoy bringing to the Whiskey at Comiskey tailgates. I like having people try these, and it's just a fun experiment, if you will. The first one being Rare Breed Bourye. We talked about on a previous episode. It's 65% Rare Breed bourbon, 35% rye. I just made this today, another bottle. I always have one of these available. I'll bring it to parties. I'll bring it everywhere we go. I really do like the combination of the Rare Breed bourbon and rye. It's just something different, but it hits all the right notes that I specifically like. And what's cool about this is you could actually make this yourself. The first 2, you could easily make this yourself. They're both available. I just saw today Rare Breed bourbon and rye right next to each other in my local liquor store. They're not hard to find. You can make it yourself and kind of test it out. But like I said, you could come to the Whiskey at Comiskey tailgates. I'll have it. I'll always have this little bottle available at the tailgates. My second blend, and it's another one that's I'm not breaking any rule, or like it's no secret. It's Old Forester 1915. It's a combination 50-50 blend of Old Forester 1910 and Old Forester 1920. So this is right back here, actually. Old Forester 1915. What I like about Old Forester 1910, and I've talked about is, I feel like we've only done 9 of these, and I've talked about Old Forester a whole bunch. The 1910, the double oak, they're, toasted barrel process. It's super sweet, super desserty, easy sipping. And then the 1920 is the higher proof, 115 proof, pepper and spice and everything nice. I like blending the 2. I like the dessert aspect, the sweet aspect, and then the heat and pepper and higher proof of the 1915. And that's a 50-50 blend, like I said. And when I tasted them blind, out of the 3, the 1915 didn't win out. I like the 1910 better. But if you're wanting a little more heat, the 1915 is a great substitute. So that was something I recently did with my wife. She poured all 3, and I was like, let's see if 1915 wins out. It didn't. So I'm being honest and saying it's not better than the blend of the 2 because I like 1910 better. But it's still a really, really good blend that I like having around. And then the final one, it's the hardest one to blend, basically. It's Poor Man's Pappy. I've done a bunch of these Poor Man's Pappies, and I also bring them as much as we can. I brought one to Jason's wedding. Shout out the head bum in charge. We smoked a bottle of that. I mean, we were going to drink anything at that wedding. Like, it could have been gasoline, and we would have been happy with it. But the Poor Man's Pappy, it's tough because I know Weller 107 and Weller 12 year is getting really, really hard to find. But I will say, I still think the Poor Man's Pappy is better than the sum of its parts. I do think this bottle right here, shout out Bologna, is better than the Weller 12 that's up there and the Weller 107 that's behind me. And for the longest time, Weller 107 was my favorite bourbon. Again, I had a Big Star store pick of Weller 107 that Jason had. And that was really what kicked me really into high gear in the like bourbon searching, bourbon hunting world. It was unlike anything I've ever had before. And this was years ago. Like, I don't even know how long ago it was, but it was a good amount of time. And for the longest time, Weller 107 was my favorite. I was able to find a 107 bottle and a Weller 12 bottle. And the first time I blended it, I let it sit. So I always let my blend sit for at least 6 weeks. The Poor Man's Pappies, I always let them sit for 2 months. And every week or so, I'll swish it around and make sure it all gets all blended together. It marries, if you will. Um, but it's tough now. It's tough that Weller 12 and Weller 107 is so impossible to find. But when I do, and it's always at MSRP, it's worth it if you're paying MSRP because it's still, the two bottles combined are less than $100. You got to be patient. You got to know where to look. We drove from Illinois to Pittsburgh last year, and we stopped in Ohio. Ohio and Texas have Weller 107 more available than most states. So that's what we did. I was able to get 4 different bottles of Weller 107. I gave one to Jason. I kept 3, and most of those are for blending my poor man's Pappies because I feel like it's worth it. I'd rather blend the poor man's Pappies than to drink the 107 by itself. And that's saying a lot because like I said, it's still a really good bourbon. So yeah, the poor man's Pappy is 60% Weller 107, 40% Weller 12. I'll have these available at Whiskey at Comiskey as well, as long as I can find it. We have friends, we have connections now. Being, the longer we go in this game, the more friends you make, the more connections you make, the more, stores recognize you and things like that. But I'd still rather do this than drink that 12 by itself. Maybe I'm wrong, and obviously bourbon and whiskey is like super subjective. Everyone has their own opinions. I don't like Weller 12 by itself. It's unimpressive to me. There's nothing that stands out about it. I know it's a super hype bottle and it's hard to find, but it's not worth it. So I'd rather have my Bologna blend. So yeah, those are my 3 blends. I'm going to keep doing more different ones. Give me 1 second. I'm going to keep doing different ones throughout the year. I've been trying to do a couple different things. I'll have them ready for baseball season. But yeah, these are super easy blends. The first 2 are super easy blends that you can do at home and try them out and things like that. And if you need a sample, you want a sample, just hit me up, hit up the DMs. I'm more than happy to share because like I said, whiskey is meant to be shared. It's meant to be, like drank with friends or internet friends. So we appreciate everyone following us, not only for our Bumcast and Chicago Sports Bums contest, but slowly but surely we're making friends in the whiskey community, and it's been a really fun ride. So that is my day 9 of the 12 days of whiskey. I've got one more review, and then, like I said, I keep hyping it up. We got something special planned for the last 2 days of the 12 days of whiskey. So cheers, everyone. I actually didn't pour any of my own stuff, so I've got an empty glass to cheers you guys with. I apologize for that. I'll see you tomorrow.